Hello, everybody. Okay, so today's video is going to be a little bit of a heavy hitter. Trigger warning in advance. I am using GIFs and memes to make light of the situation. I would like to express that I'm okay. And when I'm sharing this with you, ultimately, I want you to see the coping mechanisms, the thought processes, and the dynamics that I use to get out of it. And maybe you'll see something that I don't see for what the help evolution of everybody and to share what you learn or what you see or what resonates in your story as something that may aid yourself or another person that you know. And without further ado, we are going to get into it. Types of abuse and discovering meaning, fueling resilience, grabbing the emotional balls by the hand. I had spoken about we're all playing a game of emotional ping pong. And in this game of emotional ping pong, we get these emotions that fly into our aura or our energetic field. And we're like, oh, what is that? Because it's like a foreign object being felt energetically within you. So our natural defense is to want to grab it and deflect it back out because it's not something that's familiar. Love is the only emotion that transcends through space and time and all of existence. When we see this with plants, cooked rice will even show the effects of what hate can do. It will solidify while a jar of cooked rice that's talked to nicely will stay nice and white and clean. There is experiments on this if you want to go look it up on YouTube. Very interesting. So I put this meme here because it resembles kind of how we react with emotions. Like something comes into us and we're like, no, that's you that's doing that. That's not mine at all. Like I want nothing to do with that. And when we grab those emotional balls by the hand, we deal with them, but then we understand them and we still continue to do this, but just in a different way and a more constructive way, because instead of taking that onto ourselves, we know how to express to people that, hey, look, I understand how you're feeling, but this isn't mine to carry, but let me help you or let me show you a perspective if you're willing to hear me out that will help you see your strength in it, that will help you see that even when it may feel like losing, but we have lessons that we have to learn when we're here. And lessons upon lessons is to be truly blessed, because if winning didn't feel like losing, life wouldn't be much of a test. Let's get into it. Story time. Okay. So I was in an open relationship with a person that I've known for a long time. We did business together. It was nothing out of the ordinary. And the reason why I went into an open relationship with this person is because I knew who they were prior to getting into the relationship with them. So I accepted them in all their actuality. I didn't expect this person to change. I knew who they were. All I asked is that they told me about it. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how it all carried out. So this person helped me move. And like not even my dad showed up to help me move. And he promised that he would. This person was just asking about my life. We did business together, so it's not like it was a relationship that was unknown. He started to encourage me to see and tell me to see my ideas through. I started going to school, and he ended up in the hospital shortly after that. I would go visit him after I was done classes, and we would talk about life. He would say things to me like, I knew you could do it, and then he would encourage me to keep going. He would message me in the morning, and he kind of became like an accountability partner who used words of affirmation to slowly break down my barriers and my walls. After his release from the hospital, 2 weeks go by. I was stayed his place, and things were fine at first. Then, slowly, he started guilting me for to stay over on the nights that I wanted to go home. And I would stay. Slowly, I would be tired for school because he kept me up all night. I would share an achievement that I had or a good outcome in my business. And that's when the slights started happening. And he would start charging me more for materials. Then the abuse started. I wasn't able to leave, get dressed, or have a shower. I became a full blown sex slave. He would bring other women in, and because I wasn't allowed to get dressed the majority of the time, I knew what he was doing or like what he would make up in his head about these other women that he was bringing in so that he can manipulate them into sleeping with him and like having orgies. So when I could, I would warn them. And they would attack me at first because they didn't understand. Like, I don't, they thought I was attacking them when I was just trying to help them or like tell them what he's doing so that they could get out of there prior to being able to execute whatever he made up in his head. And he hated me for that. I remember he asked me what was bothering me, and I responded expressing my priorities. Like, I'm stressed out. I have priorities. I have things I got to do. And he threw, like those big bottles of Bailey's. He threw that at my head, and it just missed my head, and it went through the wall. My brother came by to visit, and I wasn't even allowed to get dressed so that I could visit with him. He went out to go get food, and I got dressed and I told my brother, like, we got to leave right now. I swear he was going to kill me that day. Like, things just started to get really weird and eerie. Okay, so get this. Like, he would like when I would tell him about past stories that of people I've hooked up with, or anywho, he would like want me to like not he would want me to go and be with other, like, we were in an open relationship, yes, but that doesn't mean that I was with other people. I was just with him. I just removed that expectation because I didn't want to set him up for failure on his end. Um, but like he would get me to make. I wasn't allowed to just say the truth. Like, he would like, tell me about what you did. Tell me about what you did this day and this day and this day. And I was like, I didn't do anything. So I would make things up because I'm really good at like becoming whatever I need to become. You know what I mean? And then afterwards, he he would like get mad at me for it, and I'd be like, yo, I was just saying shit. And then he's like, well, you can't do that because that's no fun. He's like, what he would get mad at me for that, for it was so messed up. During this period, I had my mom's rings, and they had one of them had went missing. I couldn't find it. Not only that, he was in the middle of moving. Granted, this person lived in a mechanical shop, so I pretty much lost all hope of finding it. I stopped by to grab supplies as we did business together after making a break for it that night that I thought he was going to kill me. And well, that was a mistake. 1 week goes by and I can't pee. I literally cannot pee. This man, after he was in the hospital and I would come and visit him every single day, I tell him I need to go to the hospital, and he just moves over to the next woman beside me. And I have to call myself a cab and take myself. This is someone who says that they care about me. He wouldn't answer his phone. I got a hold of him one time and asked him to bring me my things, and he said that he would. He never showed up. The day that I got released from the hospital, I went back to his place and I stayed there that night. And I'm sitting on the couch, and something just told me to go and look in the side of the couch. And like I was kind of like feeling like I felt something like a bump. And so I reached down and I grabbed, like, tried to feel like, what is that? Lo and behold, it was my mom's ring. And after I got my mom's ring, I started to keep my distance from this person. After his move, to his new place. I stopped in again because we did business together. It was in the middle of winter, and this motherfucker wouldn't give me my shoes to leave. I left anyway because he was gonna beat me up. So I left with no shoes. I got my aunt to come pick me up. A little bit later, I returned to grab my shoes, and I was like, discussing with him, like, is every interaction gonna be like this? Mm. Well, 7 hours go by. Meanwhile, his nephew, full grown man, is in the room right next to us, and he's getting violent. I had no choice but to comply. After 7 hours, I looked at my phone because I had appointments and things that I had to be doing. I had priorities, and he loses it. He starts yelling at me, telling me how disrespectful I am, slaps me, grabs my phone, and throws it. And another 4 hours go by. At this point, we're both laying there, and he looks at me, like, looks over at me, and says, "You're so beautiful when you're like this." And I asked him, like, what? He's like, when you just listen. All I could say was, oh. But the fury, the disgust, the, oh, that burned inside me. That, like, it took over my whole body. And all I could say was, oh. My blood boiled in disgust. Finally, he decided to go to the garage. And I grabbed my clothes from the washing machine because I had already planned to make my escape. It was just about when. He had come to my where I was staying to talk to me about something. And he starts driving and asked me to give him head, and I said refused. I said no. He punches me in the mouth, takes me all the way to his house, and as soon as he stopped that vehicle, I jumped out and I went the opposite direction. People were at his place. I think he sent someone to come and get me. I didn't look back. I just kept going. The aftermath of this was him sitting outside my grandmother's place and sending me text messages trying to intimidate me. Not only that, but he got my best friend to set me up to try and kidnap me at 7-Eleven. It obviously wasn't successful. And man, just if you ever feel uneasy, get the hell out of there as soon as possible. That's a risk you don't have to take. You are what you do, not what they tell you, think, believe, what you are. Give your head a shake, stop reacting. Remember this as well. Even if you gave them no rules at all, it would have made zero difference in the choice they made to cheat on you or to somehow betray you. It would have made zero difference. Okay, people who do that just do that. And forgive yourself for who you had to be to survive. You're not them, they are. So just remember that. Okay. What's driving your life? This experience that I just shared with you touches on the main events. The dynamics in between are better understood when experienced rather than explained. But I don't wish this upon anybody. Prior to knowing about spirituality, I didn't understand what an open vessel was. That is an open vessel. You're so beautiful when you just listen. These words are when I knew this person played, saying they believed in me. This person silently didn't want me to reach my goals. They didn't even support me in any which way. In fact, they sabotaged me any chance that they got. I wasn't considered a human being to this person. And the burning fury of disgust that came from my core, like the pit of my core that expanded through my body, was that same fury that burned any remnant of my existence from this person's life. And in return, the reputation, the credit, the character that I have given them a spot in my mind, I left that behind as a remnant of everything they are not.